I there's so much.
Okay. I used to be afraid of the world outside my door, so I lived within the pages of a book. I used to be so scared of what I couldn't control. It seemed whatever I touched, I broke. The wind at my back, the grass so green, the sun on my face, it was all a dream till you said, wake up, wake up, wake up, take my hand. I'm here for you now, I'll help you stand. The world isn't so frightening, it's not all thunder and lightning, and as long as we are together, life can only get better. I used to be embarrassed about my eyes, my nose, my smile, so I hid my face behind my hair. I spent so many years feeling like I was drowning. Now finally I'm coming up for air. Laughing out loud, being part of a team, touching the stars, it was all a dream till you said, wake up, wake up, wake up, take my hand. I'm here for you now, I understand. The world isn't so frightening, it's not all thunder and lightning, and as long as we are together, life can only get better. Life can only get better.
There's just so last week I kept thinking I want to get these videos down to like 15 minutes. I'm starting to get paranoid that that you're just bored of hearing from me on Monday mornings. But so much stuff happens during the week. So much. Today is, I have no idea how I'm going to get through this week intact. So, see, where do we start? Monday morning coffee. Good morning. Got this. And I'm going to say this right now. I'm probably going to get a text or a phone call from Matt Jones. Yes, this is instant, Matt. I know what you gave me on Friday. Haven't gotten into it because I waited for today to show everyone else before I started using your gift. We'll get to that in a moment. Now I'm finding it hard to breathe because I lit incense and it's really, really strong. It smells great. Except for I've been hooked up to oxygen all night long. And my lungs are just nice and I feel good this morning. I can breathe. I feel strong. I'm alert. I'll just enjoy the incense. So, Uncle Bob is good. You might have seen my messages when he went to the hospital. We thought they had a heart attack. He did not have a heart attack. He had other conditions that made him think that he was having a heart attack. But he ended up in the hospital. Well, he lives an hour north. Then I find out that Aunt Wen Ling is in China, and he's been alone for a couple months. So I was really upset. Mad went up and saw him, and he went, whoa, wait a minute. It's not your aunt's fault. I sent her to China. I'm like, why would you send her to China? Why would you not tell us? And he says, it's because, this is before Trump was elected. No, we're not talking politics. But he says, with everything, the challenge between the U.S. and China, my Aunt Wenling is an American citizen. went through the whole long process for years and years and years, became an American citizen. She is a wonderful woman. We adore her. Anyway, she still has a son and a daughter-in-law, and they have 2 grandkids that they've been working for 9 years going through the process to bring them over legally. And it's really, really difficult. And she started getting sad, saying, well, what happens if things go bad between the U.S. and China? And so Uncle Bob said, go see them. Because if something happens, they're going to let you come back because you're an American citizen. Go spend time with the kids. So he sent her. And the twit, he still didn't tell us that he was alone. Anyway, so we found out when he gets taken to the hospital by the paramedics. Anyway, so I went to visit him yesterday on Sunday. I spent Sunday with him. It was great. He's in a great mood. We walked around the garden. He was showing me all the stuff that Wenling was growing and prepping for. And anyway, spent time with him. He's doing fantastic. I gotta tell you, he was like my real life G.I. Joe. I remember meeting him for the first time when I was 8 years old. I know, because he dropped down onto my chest with his knee and knocked all the wind out of me. I was like wrapped around his leg. I wanted to wrestle or something. He's like, get off. He was an officer in the, not an officer, a sergeant in the army. And anyway, he's quite the character. Everyone loves Uncle Bob. Everybody. And I'm trying to think, gosh, what? I'm going to tell you a different story about how Wanted Hero and everything started, because everything was funded in 2004 with I think I told this to you, a pull of a slot machine lever while I was completely drunk. Yeah, we'll tell that another time. So this story about Uncle Bob, because he was involved in that one. I remember my computer, I had a custom computer made by my brother Jonathan, who lives in Wyoming. And I didn't have the means to go pick up the computer, and I needed to go to his house. Uncle Bob's like, I'll take you. I'll drive you. I was like, you want to drive all the way to Wyoming? Even I don't want to go to Wyoming. I don't know anyone that wants to go to Wyoming. Anyway, he says, yeah. He goes, I used to be a private driver for 3- and 4-star generals. Okay. But you don't have a car. You're visiting from Germany. He goes, we'll borrow your mom's car. That's when Mom was still alive. So we borrow her car, and we go to Wyoming. We are racing through fog. You literally can't see more than, maybe 7 to 10 feet in front of the car. We were doing 90 miles an hour in the fog. I'm like, Bob, slow the flip down. He's like, we're good. Lights come on. Now, this wasn't like Google Maps stuff. It was a map, the road and everything. Old school, right? We get pulled over. Find out we were doing 90 in a 25 mile an hour zone. Yeah. So Bob pulls over. I'm in the passenger seat. I'm like, dude, what is going on? He's like, don't worry about it. We're good. We're not going to get a ticket. What are you talking about? Not getting a ticket? Ooh, we're doing over 90. And we have no idea what speed we're supposed to be going, and we're getting pulled over by a cop. I'm pretty sure regardless of anywhere in Wyoming, you can't go over 90. He's like, no, we're good. We're not going to get a ticket. And he goes, just wait. So the cop comes over. He's, taps on the window. Bob rolls down the window. Cop is not happy. He's not rude either. He was extremely polite. He's like, sir, do you realize that you're going 90? It was 90 something, but 90 in a 25 mile an hour zone. And Bob's like, oh my goodness, no, I didn't know that, officer. He says, with all the fog, I couldn't see, and actually we were in conversation. I wasn't really paying attention to the, to the speed. He says, license and registration, please. He goes, sure. So he reaches over and, he gets the registration for my mom's car, and he pulls out this folded piece of paper and hands it to him. And the officer opens it up. He says, what's that? He says, that's my driver's license. Says, this is not a driver's license. Of course it's a driver's license. I live in Germany. This happens to be a German driver's license. And from what Bob was telling me, that in Germany, you get your driver's license. It's good for your life. It's a lifetime license. So there's this folded piece of paper. And he says, you have any other identification? He says, well, I have my military identification. But again, stationed in Germany. So he looks at these things. He's like, all right, I'll be back. Anyway, so he starts going back. It's cold outside. Bob rolls up the window and he starts laughing. I'm like, what's so funny? What is going on? He goes, I'm not going to get a ticket. I says, well, how can you say you're not going to get a ticket? He says, well, here's the thing. He says, he's going to go back. He says, he's going to sit there. Just sit tight. We're going to be here about 20 minutes. And then he's going to come back and he's going to ask for other forms of identification or other places that I can be contacted here in the States, because really if I get pulled over and they want to give me a ticket, but I live in Germany and all my paperwork is in Germany, I can't come back for a ticket, to pay a ticket. And that's going to kind of frustrate him. So just wait. So sure enough, around 20 minutes later, the cop comes back and he's like, well, I've checked on that. Do you have any other forms of ID? And he goes, no, sir, I don't. And he says, well, what are you doing here in the United States? He says, oh, well, I'm visiting my sister and my nieces and nephews. This is my nephew right here. And he says, well, whose vehicle is this? He says, it's my sister's. You don't have any other place of residence or any residence here? No. All righty, I'll be right back. And Bob rolls up the window and starts laughing again. He says he's not going to find anything. So what's going on? He says, well, he's going to get frustrated. He's going to look through this paperwork and realize the only thing that he could do is he's going to come back because he's just going to seem really forgiving and benevolent. Is that the right word? He says, and he's going to let us go with a warning. I'm like, have you done this before? He's like, all the time. I'm like, I'm not sure about this, Bob. I don't know. He says, it's okay. It's perfectly okay. So, and Bob's in his 60s. He's just calm as could be. He's a great big man. Anyway, the cop comes back and he's like, well, he says, I'm really concerned. He says, you need to keep it slow through here. He says, you're going through these areas. He says, speed is between 25 and 35 miles an hour. He says, where are you headed? And we told him. He says, okay. He says, that's still about an hour away. He says, I need you to be mindful of the speed limits, please. He says, but, I think because, the circumstances and you not, coming through here before, he says, I'm going to let you off with a warning. And I'm like, I'm shaking my head. And Bob's like, oh, officer, that's very kind of you. Thank you so much. He says, all right, so let's keep the speed down. He says, yes, sir. So Bob goes and puts things back in his wallet. The cop's walking back to his car. Before the cop gets into his car, Bob peels out and takes off into the fog. I'm like, Bob, just Bob. I'll tell you another story about Bob another time. When we when we went to a casino. But I love Uncle Bob. He's awesome. He's doing really, really well. So yeah. Okay. So there I have stories with Uncle Bob. Oh my goodness. Anyway, and he's a hoot. Talk about a patriot of this country. He was career military, served in the Army for 30. Bob, if you see this and I get it wrong, correct me and I'll correct it. I think he was 36 to 38 years in the military. Anyway, but thank you for your service, Bob, and I love you. Everybody loves you. And Kathy and the kids say hi too. Friday last week was amazing. I told you last Monday Coffee that Matt Jones from Restoration Roastery was driving all the way from Ohio, Cincinnati, Ohio, to come see me here in Utah. And guess what? He did. I think he said, Matt, did you say 21 or 29 hours driving? And he was with one of his buddies and he did all the driving. Whew. Anyway, shows up, picks me up at my home at 7 o'clock in the morning. We decided to spend the whole day. And, I didn't even get that out. I'll have to show you another time. So I got one of the red books that you guys bought me, the little notebooks that I've been filling up with ideas. I had one left, so I went and I brought that with me, and the meeting was because they're going, Restoration Roastery is going to be opening their first major location and roastery with the roasting machines, which is fascinating, in Cincinnati. In the area that they're in, it's the oldest building there. And he showed me pictures. It's fascinating. Anyway, they are redoing all their bags, and this is a major event. So I've been Matt's artist for a few other projects, and I first worked for him I think about 8 years ago. And what a kind man. Loved this guy. We had never met face to face. And he just said, hey, I'm coming through to go. I think he said he was going to Washington. I'm messing this up, Matt. I'm sorry. But he was going to a place that makes a cappuccino machine that he will have there in their coffee house. And I'm driving through, and my buddy is going to be at an event in Salt Lake City, and I'm going to pick him up. So, you live in Utah, right? Yeah. And so anyway, it turns out that all the timing and everything was perfect. He drove through a snowstorm, for crying out loud, and through Colorado, came down and saw me. So we went to a Cracker Barrel and sat there and had breakfast and lunch there, and went through each and every flavor of coffee that they make, and I'm going to help him redesign. I'm going to redesign all the bags for him. Anyway, so that was wonderful. Turns out Matt and I have the same birthday. We're both born on May 27th, except for I was born in 1969. I think he said he was born in 84 or 86. I think it was 84. So we get back to the house. I get to introduce him to my family, who they loved it. You would like Matt. Yeah. And we're going to do some podcasts, actually. We're going to do some live events in the Fiction Hub, because I learned so much about coffee that was fascinating. I want you guys to have that experience. So I asked if he'd be willing to do that, and he is. So I learned all sorts of things. But those of you who have known and been here longer than a year, some of you received a gift package, and it looked a lot like this, right? And Matt, when we reconnected, when the Life of Fiction was very young, he said, do you have any really dedicated readers? And I said, yeah. He said, send me a list. I said, why? He goes, oh, and send him coffee. So he sent, and I still have some of the bags. I still got a partial bag. I know, don't get upset with me, Matt. I'm learning how to do this. And I remember that I opened opened the coffee, and I don't remember how long ago it was, months ago, and Matt sent me a grinder, because I didn't own a grinder. I was buying, like Folgers and things like that. And he's like, no. So he sent me a really nice grinder. And then I tried grinding, and I did it on one of the videos, and he's like, no, you're doing that all wrong. And he's such a connoisseur. Is that the right word? Connoisseur. He knows so much about coffee. It's like, no, you do this. I did a video, I guess it was morning coffee. I did a video using the French press. I love my little silver, metal French press. Everything's better. He's like, that doesn't do it right. I was like, look, dude, this is an upgrade from instant coffee. He goes, oh, well, that's a world of difference. But then he shows up, he goes, no, I have another present for you. He goes, I want you to have a proper French press. So he goes and he bought me this and brought this to the house. So I have not opened these things. because I wanted to wait and do this with you. You're welcome, because you're special. I love you. Okay. So, and look at this. Instructions. He says, I got this. He goes, and there's instructions in these things. And he goes, and the instructions are awesome. I was like, all right, that's fine. That's good. And let's see. Take this out. Oh, it's pretty. Look, you got a stirrer thinger. So I can stir the coffee in there before. Oh, it's pretty. It's pretty. Look at that. Whoops. Look at that. Look how beautiful that is. That is gorgeous. Ooh, I like the texture too. Oh my heck. This does not feel like my other one. Oh, and it's insulated. Check that out. Oh, I'm looking forward to using this one. Oh, and this looks like it's way easier to clean. It's solid. It doesn't even come off. Oh my heck. Okay, this is way better than the other one. Fine. Oh, that's so nice. Thank you, Matt. So I'm looking forward to this. So I'm going to use this later on today. Anyway, so I have a proper French press. It's solid. And my stirrer thingy. That's not the only thing I want to show you. So we went through the book, went through each of the covers, covers? Sounds like a book. Each of the labels, and then he broke down each of the labels of the story behind it, and then we went through the design and what I'm going to do with each of the designs. So I want to show you, and yes, some of you who received coffee, you will agree with me when I say, if you like coffee, this is not here's one of the great things about Matt. He does not speak ill of other people. He exudes Jesus Christ. He is a wonderful human being. I don't know if he's going to feel uncomfortable that I say things like that, but I don't consider myself to be a very Christ-like person. I want to be. I am striving to be, but I'm still kind of blunt and rude. He is a very kind, thoughtful man. And when I asked questions, I needed comparisons. I was trying to understand about coffee. And he would not name names, but he would be like, like this kind of company does this and this and this. So I'm gonna take his example as a lead and not badmouth anybody. It's not that I'm trying to be mean, because I use a lot of these other coffees, but he explained how things work. How do you get consistency across the board? And he says you can't really, or what he found is you can't really get consistency in coffee if you're trying to roast it more than 6 pounds at a time. 6 pounds? That's not very much. And anyway, so he has all these different types of coffee, and I'm like, well, what about like some of these name brands? How do you do it? He says, well, here's the thing. He goes, you put them in a big enough vat, or I don't know what the machine's called, but that you're roasting them enough that when you get to a high enough temperature and a big enough volume, I think I'm getting this right. I remember this right, man. Everything tastes the same because, well, you've burned it. We're drinking burned coffee. Even the super expensive, famous coffee from a well-known coffee house across every state in the country, they burn their coffee. And then they call it a certain name, and then because they're famous, that becomes the trend, or that becomes the new definition of that kind of coffee. And he goes, you travel around the world, that's just not so. It's not true. So the neat thing with spending time with Matt is I'm learning about how they roast in these 6-pound batches. He told me, he says, the roasting machine is going like 24/7. It's just constantly going, but one machine can keep up with their shop. And he goes, but the thing is, he goes, I can have a dozen machines in the same house, in the same place. So we can create all these things. So I want to show you some of the coffees that he left me. I asked, I said, so did you bring any that I can take home? It goes, oh yeah, I brought you some. Ow, hot. Okay, so here's what we got. His first and most famous, his favorite, is Foggy Gap Gold. This was the first one that I gave a cup. When it comes out, it's light and it's golden. And it smells so good. I'm not usually a black coffee drinker. So far, every coffee that he has done, I can drink without any cream or anything, and you just go, wow. This one right here, I guarantee, and any of you that had this, Lisa, I know several of you had this. I'd like to hear your comments. Kathy had this. She's not really a coffee drinker, but I had her try because it smelled. She was like, "What is that smell in the house? Smell this. They should make this into potpourri. Oh, it smells so good." Anyway, she's like, "What is that smell?" I was brewing it for the very first time, and she says, "Can I try a little sip?" And I gave it to her. She drank it straight, and she's like, "That's one of the best things I've ever tasted." That's a compliment. So. That's the first one. Okay. Ready? Then we've got... Oh, I should have done this in order, but I don't have my book. I forgot in order. So we got Regal. Okay. And this is a dark Vienna roast. And we got... This is probably one of my favorite stories that was behind the label. Okay. That bigger mill is... Well, maybe I shouldn't tell the story, but... Well, anyway, so this is a house melange blend. I don't even know what that means. But what's amazing, I need my glasses. What's amazing about some of these things, is we're going to put the flavor, what do you call that? And I'm going to put the icons of what the different flavors are. Like right here, it's cocoa, bittersweet, roasted almond is this one. It's amazing. So this last one with the Regal, this one is cocoa, bittersweet, roasted almond. Yeah, there's that, but that's the dark Vienna roast. Then we got a pea berry. This is going to be an interesting one because the pea berry, this is going to change. These are like these limited, that they do, they'll get something from Ethiopia and they'll get something from India and all that. And so this will change, but this has traces of what it tastes like: milk chocolate, caramel, and orange. And the thing is that when they put this on these bags, that is what they taste like. It's amazing. Then we got Radiant, the espresso blend. So this tastes a lot like what does it say? Baker's chocolate, walnut, and I don't even know what that is. Rapadura. Anyway, it's a gentle dark roast. Yum. Okay. And then we have this one. I'm gonna really enjoy drawing this is Grace, and this is the Nordic style blend, and this has traces of peanut butter, cashew, and jam. This is what comes out in the beans, how they roast them very specifically. So good. Then I learned something also kind of fun, is they actually have they're too white. The white means that it's decaf. And this is refreshed. This is Baker's chocolate and walnut. I'm going to have fun drawing this one. Story behind this. A dream with a water fountain or waterfall. By the way, he also said, make sure that whenever you buy a decaf, it says Swiss water process. And I was like, why? What does that matter? It says, because what companies use to get to create the decaf is they use formaldehyde to pull out the caffeine. Did you know that? I didn't know that. Now I know that. That's just freaking gross. And if you don't know what formaldehyde is, it's what you use to, to embalm a dead body. Why would you drink that? Oh my goodness. So I don't drink decaf, but the rest of my family does, and they were like, yuck. Anyway, and then the last one we got is Rest, and that is that's an owl feather. Anyway, chocolate, almond, and dried fruits. Yeah. So that is a lot. That is a lot of coffee. I'm looking forward to enjoying every single bit. So that's a lot. That was a heck of a great meeting. I'm looking forward to doing this. We're going to keep you up to date because, as you know, we support Restoration Roastery. That is our brand of coffee. We don't promote anyone else. First of all, because it's the best coffee I've ever had. Everyone that got this gift package, and we're working on something. We're going to send something to you, Mike Rowe. I know you're not going to watch this video, but this is a timestamp to let you know we were prepping, so we're going to get all the bags done. We're going to send you a package. Let's see. Then there was something else that was a massive surprise in that meeting, and guess what? You don't get to know what that is when it's done, if it gets done, because I don't want to promise something because it might not come to fruition. No, it's so gonna happen, but you don't get to know until it's done, and then I will show you as the end result. But that was fabulous. And if you like coffee and like really want high quality, this is done in small individual batches. It is the best that you're gonna have. There's a link below. Every week there's a link below, and they're our partners, and I'd say sponsor, but well, we just buy from them because they're the best. So support them. Plus, it's a good cause because part of their profits on every single bag of coffee that they do, Restoration Roastery supports the caring for and rehabilitation of women who have been rescued from human trafficking. Why would you not support something like that? It's amazing. Let's see. Last thing. I have just about cleaned up my office. I still got a bit, and it's through the winter. It's hard. I don't have, in the apartment that I live in, I don't have closets to put things. So I got things piled up. I got a storage unit, and it's really rough when I'm used to, from my house, of having bookcases everywhere. And I'm cleaning things up because I get my puppy back today. She's not a puppy anymore. She's an old lady. However, Muffin, who I love very much, she's my dog. We did not bring her with us. Reason. She's still with my son, Evan, and here's the story. So my son, we are living together in a house and taking care of one another. By the way, you're going to start hearing my family because it's time to get up. Because it was 6 o'clock when we started this, or 6:15, and we're all living together. We're taking care of each other, and he really wanted to get a puppy for his kids, for my grandkids. That's awesome. So he gets a puppy. This puppy is so freaking adorable and smart. So much energy. But I mean, this puppy is smart. You tell the puppy what to do, it just does it. It's already potty trained. Everything, I was just like, wow. And my son says, well, do you want one for my siblings? And I'm like, I would. He goes, well, I got this from a farmer, And he goes, and it was amazing. He literally stands there and just tells his dogs what to do, and they just go do it. And all the puppies, he had bred a bunch of puppies, and all the puppies just, follow the mom, or the dad. Follow the mom. And he says they don't live too far away. They just live like 2 cities over. Let's go take a ride. And so he gave a call, and the farmer says, yeah, I still have some dogs left if you want to come on over. So I went over to his farm, and I wasn't feeling very well that day. And I remember that they're walking around back, and I sat down on the front lawn, and they're on the side of the house, and there's like a dozen or 2 of these puppies that are just following the mom, walk around, the mom's following the farmer. And I'm like, oh, look at these beautiful, beautiful dogs. So I get up and start approaching, and I went, oh, I really like that. I think it was a black one. And so I called out to it, and it turns, and it looks at me, and trots like halfway to me in between its mom and me, and it kind of looks at me, and then turns around and runs away. And I went, it's been a long time since I bought a dog, and I just want to have this connection. So I was like, you know what? I told my wife, just, pick out a dog. It'll be okay. And I remember sitting down on the lawn and just watching all these puppies. And I'm watching them flood, and they're all jumping up on the farmer's boot and things like that. And I watch this one little puffball, way smaller than the rest of the puppies. It's the runt. Tries to jump up on the boot of the farmer, and she falls back and rolls off. And she goes like this and kind of shakes her head. And I laugh. It just made me laugh so loud. Well, she heard me. She turns and she sees me. And she's just staring at me. And I'm laughing. I'm like, you are adorable. And she kind of looks at me and cocks her head over to the side. And she gets up and she trots on over. And she stands like a foot in front of me, just bold and just looking up at me. And I said, oh, you are so beautiful. And I held out my hand. And she comes over to my hand and she sniffs my palm and looks up at me and sniffs my palm again. And then she rolled her head into my palm and then just came right up into my lap and snuggled up in my lap. I called it to my wife. I said, forget it. I says, I found my dog. And I love that puppy. And anyway, so we brought her home to be raised with her sister, and they were inseparable. You try to take one to go on a walk, and the other would just howl and just everything until you brought the sister back till they were together again. Well, Tafiti, her sister, Evan's dog, she's been bred, so she has children. She has full-grown, dogs, puppies. They kept a few of the puppies. And Muffin was never bred, and she has arthritis. And things just kind of haven't gone well for her. And she's kind of getting up, she's irritable and all that. And she's still my dog. And my wife and I still feel very, responsible for her. We just didn't want to take her away from her sister. But now it's like her sister has kids and everything, and they've kind of moved on. And she spends most of her time she looks depressed and alone. So we just talked and said, well, maybe we need to bring her here. I'm like, hon, we're in an apartment. We don't have a yard. We don't have but don't we feel responsible for her? Yes, most definitely. Plus, I always wanted to have a dog, a great big dog that wasn't very energetic, that I could put a great big bed on the floor by my desk, and they could just keep me company all day long while I'm in here. And then I take breaks so that I could take them for a walk, and that would get me exercise and get them exercise. And it seems like that's kind of becoming what needs to happen. She needs it. I'm at the point where I can start exercising. I need it. And I just want to show you real quick. I know this is kind of awkward of doing this. However, I just want you to look down on the side. So I'm going to have the spot right over here on the side. And I'm moving all of that stuff today. Let's see the whiteboard. And I'm going to make a little place for her and bring her home. And I went over yesterday before I went to Bob's house, and I came through the door, and my granddaughter was at the door, and she's like, "Hi, Papa." I was like, "Hello, sweetheart. How are you?" As soon as I spoke out loud, it was just this moment. Muffin heard my voice and came running around the hallway and came right out to me, just snuggled up next to my leg. She hasn't done that in a year, by the way. I've been over to the house many times, and she would just look in my direction, went over, whatever. But she ran up to me again, and we kind of had that moment. And I just kind of knelt down there and just loved her for a few minutes. Yeah, this is going to be good. So I'll introduce you next week. That'd be nice. So I get my puppy back today. I think that's going to be my highlight, actually, this week. And as you see, I got a whiteboard up on the wall. You probably noticed it had a bunch of screws along the side. It's because Andai gave me the pieces that this was taken out of his house. This is I think the homeschooling thing for his wife. And it was bowed, And so I was like, okay, can you use it, Jamie? Yeah, I'll figure it. He's like, it's old, it's used. That's okay. I'm just looking at to use everything that I possibly can and use all of these blessings and take that next step forward and that next step forward. And I figured I can make that work and put it up, replace. You see, it feels a lot brighter in here now that that's white and not on the chalkboard that I tried to make. And yeah, so I took some wood screws and put little, what do you call those? Washers on them so that it would, suck because it was really bowed far, and we pushed it against and put that in there, and I'll draw around them. So now I need to buy some spray, and I need to get some, I got some markers, dry erase markers. So I'm saving up for those, and then we're set. And I'm so looking forward to that. I'm going to do diagrams for the role-playing game. In fact, it might be fun to actually take and do the talk about what we're doing and actually film from the other side with me standing in front of the whiteboard. We'll think of something. But that's a lot. But that's pretty much it. And I'm looking forward to more of the TTRPG this week. I have an appointment with 2 of the members of our community. We're meeting Saturday. I'm making them breakfast. And then we are going to do some play testing with the first part of The Hero Within. Progress. Yes. And so last thing that I will say, this is the longest morning coffee I think we've ever done. Reason why I haven't posted more, I have a lot more material. I could have done a lot more articles. Someone brought something up in the community, and I'm taking it to heart because I think it's important. I'm a little leery of putting all the things that I'm developing, the process of what I'm doing out there in the public, because the way that I'm interacting with you, someone could just take those ideas and run in somebody that has more money and resources than me and just come up with the game and publish it before me. So I am trying to figure out how to have these conversations with you, not show what I'm doing, but instead interact with you, and then I will show you what I've done when we can just start playing the game. So some things are going to happen behind the paywall, but the things that we talk about in open in the public forum, I'm going to change how I talk about it a bit. I really want to encourage all of you, if you haven't upgraded and you can, do so. I'm going to be developing more rooms in the Fiction Hub where we are going to, I'll take you on a tour, by the way, really soon, maybe next week, of these rooms with a Fiction Hub, so we can actually talk live. You can be in a room with up to a dozen other people with me, and we can develop the role-playing game. You can give me ideas. We can discuss this out, and I can show you things, live screenshots, and the stuff that's coming. Man, I'm telling you, we're going to have so much fun. So you have a good day. You have a good week. Remember, you are more than you think you are. And we will see you next week.